Well, welcome back to another of our Feel Good Food series. Today, it really is a whatever you've got recipe. And we're going to be doing a vegetable gratin or vegetable cauliflower with cheese mix.
I think vegetable gratin is most definitely...
That sounds nicer.
Yeah, the better name.
But yeah, so it's going to be
bendy carrot bake. Sorry.
Bendy what?
Bendy carrot bake.
Yeah, so whatever you've got is the key. So to give you a little breakdown of what I've got some, I've separated it into two piles that I'll go through more in a minute, but I've got some purple sprouting broccoli, some carrot, I've got some cauliflower, I've got some really old mushrooms, celery, onion, but this is, I'm sure at some point you're going to regret buying quite so much produce in the fridge last week, and stuff's going to start going if you haven't eaten it already. This is a really good recipe to use those things that are maybe sort of getting past their best. What I'm going to do first though is I'm going to show you how to make us a really good, we'll say bechamel, but it's just a cheese sauce. It's a very, very nice cheese sauce. So all you need, some butter.
Could you use sunflower margarine if you were...
I've no idea.
vegan?
I never have.
Okay, well I have.
Yeah.
I was posing you a leading question there, AJ.
Yeah, my view is vegan cheese is horrible. So
yeah, but if you have got vegan, it does work.
yeah, so if you're vegan, apparently you can use sunflower. If not, I've got some butter, and then I've got some plain flour, and then I've just slipped in some mustard powder, some cayenne.
Okay.
It's really going to bring the flavour of the cheese out. And that's come up to a nice ball now. So, first job, in my pan, I'm going to throw my butter in, and I just want that to melt. Then I've got everything going in.
Okay, smelling really nice. Melted butter is a great smell.
Exactly, and that's why you shouldn't use marge. So,
All right, well I was just asking, look, I've told you about the spatulas in a hot pan.
yeah, so I'm using this night. You want a nice spatula like this one that gets it nice and smooth. I'm just going to now cook it out for a minute. And what this is doing is basically cooking out the flour, so you don't end up with that floury taste.
It's actually the first stage of the gelatinisation process as well, AJ.
No one's thinking about that at home right now, Maria.
Okay, well, all right. Get down off your soapbox.
So there we go. We've got that going. So
on the heat for that, and then you've taken it off the heat.
yeah, so I've sort of cooking it out for the minute. We're about there now. You can see how it's starting to sort of.
It's a bit like porridge.
Yeah. So at this stage, you can take it off the heat. And now you want to add a little bit of milk at a time, and this is the key. If you put too much milk in, we've all had it, really, really lumpy sauce. I always take mine off the heat completely to add, tiny little bit.
So
it can be a
full
bit
milk,
more,
semi-skimmed,
yeah, whatever you've got,
skimmed.
cream. And every time, you want to make sure it returns to this sort of thick stage, so you can add a little bit at a time.
It looks a bit like Play-Doh at the moment.
Yeah. So you can be a bit more heavy-handed with it once you sort of get going, but at the start...
And all joking aside, you can use sunflower margarine, you can use a plant-based milk for this. Oat, soya, almond, all work really well.
There we go, so every time it's cooking it. So I'm quite careful at the start.
So you're gradually working that in.
Yeah, and making sure I work. You can do this with a whisk as well, but I prefer just to use a spatula.
So for me, a good cheese sauce, obviously over any veggies, particularly cauliflower or broccoli.
Or when it gets, the other thing is just making a really good macaroni cheese.
Yeah.
So this is the start of that.
Tuna pasta bake.
Yeah.
Ham, chicken, pasta. Or I often put leftover chicken in it, bit of bacon, bit of onion, and pastry chicken pie.
That's it. So keep working this nice. It's starting to go back on the heat a little bit more now. Start reintroducing it. If your pan's too hot and you get the milk in there, it just evaporates off straight away rather than making this nice sort of white sauce. You can see I'm not weighing any of this. That's why I said roughly you need about 600 to 700 ml, but
But we will post a more precise recipe.
But yeah, well, this is one of these ones that I don't think you need a precise recipe. You sort of equal quantities at the start and then just go with it. And with these, this is obviously a bechamel or white sauce if you're using milk. But you can easily swap your milk for a wine or a stock, and then it becomes a velouté.
Check you out,
And then
Mr. Chefy.
So you can see how it's really starting to work now. Look at that. It's got really nice, it's glossy, there's no lumps. Now I'm going to start bringing a bit of heat back into that, and what's I'm going to do is going to cook it out again for a few minutes, and that's going to make sure that all that flour is thoroughly cooked out.
So do you need to actually bring it to a simmer?
Yeah, I always bring mine just to a simmer just to make sure that it also allows you to get to a point where you can adjust the thickness, because what you can do if you just keep mixing it off the heat, as soon as you add heat back it starts to thicken up more and you end up with those really gloopy sauces. There you go. So I'm about there now. Well, that was annoying. I opened another bottle of milk thinking I'm going to need a little bit more. I don't think I do.
Is it bubbling there, AJ?
Pardon?
Is it bubbling?
What?
Your sauce?
Yeah, nearly, yeah. You can see the heat going in there.
Beauty.
So now I'm just going to introduce a little bit of heat, like I said. Well, currently you can see it's starting to bubble up. So at this stage, you want to add your cheese. Make sure you're getting the flavour in there. So, I'm going to add a load of, this is whatever you've got cheese. So I've got a load of cheddar.
Double Gloucester, red Leicester, blue cheese.
Blue cheese would be great, yeah.
Gruyere.
I've got a load of leftover Gruyere I found. And you just need to make this as cheesy as you want.
Ooh.
So I'm definitely not including a cheese amount in this recipe. This is just,
Cheese.
I love really cheesy. And another reason you need to keep the heat there, you see how that's thickened up loads and my cheese isn't melting yet. So it's good to keep that heat.
So if I was doing a macaroni cheese, I'd just stir some cooked macaroni in at this stage, would I?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Get some cooked pasta. Good for leftover pasta as well. It's like me that I still can't measure out the correct amount of pasta whenever I do a recipe, so I just end up with
That is smelling
loads.
nice, actually. Smells just like a fondue.
So, there you go, that cheese is melting now, you see. It's got lovely sauce. Right, you're probably all bored of watching me make a sauce now.
Well, it's getting a bit dull, to be honest.
But yeah, we're nearly there. So, it's glossy. It's nice consistency. Most important part, salt. So these will always take a good bit of salt. Put a crack of pepper in there if you wanted to, but you've got to remember we've already got that cayenne in. So that's going to already have given it a nice little background heat. So I'm just going to give that a little taste, make sure we're cheesy enough.
No double dipping at the moment.
Absolutely not. Oh, I can always take more cheese.
AJ.
And a bit more salt. So, if you're going to be stuck at home for 3 weeks, you know, you've got to make sure everything tastes delicious.
Yeah,
you know.
I go with that, actually.
So,
bit of a workout in the garden.
yeah,
And a nice little bit of
and then a workout in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's how long this is taking to do. So there you go. So that's my bechamel. So what I'm going to do now, and then we'll come back. But I'm going to, I've got a pan coming up to the boil. Just take that off the heat, keep it warm. I'm going to blanch my vegetables. So that's salted water. It's going to come up to a boil. You could be really precious and cook all of these things depending on which ones take the longest to cook and things. I can't be bothered to do that, so I'm just going to throw it all in. And then I've got my sort of saute pile here. So in this pan I'm going to throw my onions, my mushrooms, celery, some garlic, and I'm going to cook all of that, get a bit of colour on it, some nice flavour. Right, well, welcome back. Two things have been happening. So in this pan over here, I've been rapidly boiling some veg, all of my veg, no real rules there, just whatever you've got I've thrown in. And then here in the saute pan, as you can see, I've got loads of colour on that. The trick's getting colour on stuff, don't season it until the end.
AJ, I never knew that.
So, you know, when everybody is classically having soggy mushrooms for breakfast, colour them first, oil, and then finish them with salt and butter.
I also can't do that whole chefy cooking thing.
So now I've got a nice pan of browned off veg, nicely seasoned. I'm just going to go and get rid of the water off all of this.
You know what? I could just eat that with a nice bit of bacon, nice fried egg, breakfast in a pan, really.
What we are doing is gratin.
All right.
So, passed off veg. So I'm going to go all of this in the bottom.
Yum. So you're not mixing it through?
No, so whenever I do a collie cheese or anything, I find if you mix it, unless you've got a really loose bechamel, that's not a good thing. Everything breaks up into little bits, and I want to have everything holding their shape. So this is when you want to make sure you see I've still got nice warmth in there.
I've got to give it to you, Chef AJ
and then
Turner.
we're going to go over the top, and then everything's going to sink down in its own time, and then you don't sort of end up with sort of
loopiness at the bottom.
Yeah, and you know, things like broccoli are so delicate. You go mixing it with a thick sauce, they're just going to break, and then you end up with a veggie mess gratin. I don't want
the jokes keep on going.
That's
you know,
it.
Paul Julia is going to be confined
Oh.
for you for 3 months with
No,
all of those jokes.
No, we've talked about having a self-isolation room at home
Okay.
you can escape to.
What, irrespective of whether you've got the virus or not? Just
Yeah.
to
She'll probably say she's got it even though she hasn't.
You've got a shed, haven't you? A smoking shed.
Yeah, it's too small to live in though.
Well, you
And
can just go.
it smells of fish.
You could go sit in there for a bit.
So now I've got that. I'm going to finish with some...
A bit more cheese.
No, yeah, cheese and breadcrumbs. So you want to use
okay.
either panko breadcrumbs that are out of the packet, or most likely you've got bread that's going stale. Chuck it in the blender, leave it out overnight, or if you really want it straight away, put it in the food processor, break it up, leave it out.
If you haven't got a food processor, you can actually use
Get
a
your kids
grater.
to chop it really finely.
Oh, I was going to say
Keep them
grater.
busy for an hour.
Not child labour, AJ.
Yeah, it's all right. They're not at school.
No, grate it with like a cheese side of a grater. Just leave it out till it goes stale, then grate it.
So yeah, and then I put some. I've just put some more cheese on that, and I'm just going to add one thing. If you have got it, bear with you.
I have no idea what he's going to get right
A
now.
bit rogue and a bit naughty, but you know. So we're going to finish it then with some white truffle oil because
Oh, AJ!
because that'll make it taste even better.
Yeah, I don't actually. Oh no, actually, I think I do because
It's
do you know
not
what? Do you know my
some-
favourite breakfast thing is?
White
Sourdough,
truffles?
smashed avocado, poached egg, little baby tomatoes, and truffle oil.
So you want to put that in a nice hot oven. What are you saying? 200, 220?
Yeah.
You just want to get the idea. You're just going to try and get some nice caramelisation on the top. It's not about everything's cooked, everything's ready. We just want to get the cheese melted and the breadcrumbs nice and toasted off and absorb some of that fat that'll come from the cheese so they go all crispy.
Is that my lunch in a minute?
Yeah, so I mean we'll put that in the oven for probably 10-15 minutes maximum, and then
Okay.
we'll come back.
Okay.
So this has been about 10-15 minutes. Our should be nicely got. All you're looking for is bubbling and golden brown.
It's smelling.
That's basically what that is.
Absolutely gorgeous.
So yeah, that's what the finished product is. Again, with this recipe, you can see I'm going to be feeding quite a lot of people. With that.
And really, bottom line, it was leftovers, wasn't it? Let's be
Yeah, I mean,
honest.
today we're emptying all of our fridges, so this was just like the last minute. What should we use?
Well, that looks gorgeous.
And you
AJ.
can see because I've sort of left my sauce quite nice and thick. It's not sort of running everywhere. You just got. There you go.
So AJ's vegetable gratin or
Yeah, whatever you've got with whatever you've got.
leftover fridge
Seems to be-
vegetable
Yeah.
supper.
So it should be just nice and tasty, nice and simple. Good one just for an easy tea, and it's also really nice. It might just be me, but it's really good cold the next day.
Yeah, no, that's just you.
Probably just me.